Maybe it'll be just us and we won't have to do, oh, I don't have my speakers in.
Oh.
Good morning. We'll give people a minute or so to hop on. I know the email went out kind of late last night, so we'll see how many join us.
What time did he send it?
I was awake, so it was before like 10.
8:54 p.m.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, Cindy. Maybe it's not working.
Let me see. Where's my participants? Oh, interesting. There's no mic for her.
Oh.
We see you, Cindy. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat, and we can answer them there for you. And then we'll maybe wait like another minute or so, and then we'll just start.
I should turn the light on.
All right, well, we will get started. Respect everyone's time. Let me go ahead and share my screen and hope that this all works with me being logged into Zoom and launching a Zoom. But I think everything's already open. So the first thing you want to do is just go to zoom.us, and then you're going to click this blue sign up it's free button. And once you do that, you'll get to a screen where you can sign in with your Google account. If I click the button right now, it's just going to take me to my profile because I'm already signed up with my Google account. And the reason we want you to sign up with your district Google account is that Zoom is offering all school districts no time limit on the basic account that's usually available. So you can host a meeting longer than 40 minutes with more than 3 people. And some people, when we did this last week, they got the message or they got something like sent to their email that they had to verify their account. Some other people didn't. So you may need to check your email once you click that sign up button and link to your Google account. But once you do all of that, I'm gonna click, yay, it's working. Okay, you should be on a profile page, and if not, you can get there by clicking either your picture if it's linked to Google.
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's just me now.
I know. Let me
keep going because we're recording it, or
let me stop sharing. Oops. So then I can record again. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to walk through signing up for an account. So to sign in or to sign up for an account, you're going to go to zoom.us, and then you just want to click this sign up it's free button. And then once you're there, and you click this blue button, it will walk you through the steps, and you just want to make sure that you sign in with your district Google account. And the reason for that is Zoom has lifted the time limits on the basic version. So you want to make sure that you sign in with your Google account. And once you do sign up, you should get to a screen, whoops, that looks something like this. This is your main account profile. And to get here, if it doesn't automatically take you here, if you click on either your picture from Google that's linked, or it might just have an icon with your name. But if you click on that, it will take you to this main page. And from here, we're going to click on Settings. And these are all of your settings that you can adjust, and they will be, these settings will stay for any meeting that you create in the future. And then if you do decide that you want to change something up, you also have that ability. But there are some features that we think you should set as your baseline as you're getting started. So this first one is to host a meeting. Do you want to start with your video, if you're hosting, turned on? So we recommend yes for that, and same with participants. Participants can change this. They don't have to show their video, but we recommend having it on. Under audio type, there's two options, telephone and computer, and in people playing around with it, the telephone option doesn't seem to be configured correctly, but we just have it set for both just in case. Join before host. If you are conducting a Zoom with other educators, then I would suggest you could turn this on. That way people can jump in before you actually start the Zoom. But if you are using this with students, I would leave this unchecked because I wouldn't want students chatting before I got in there. These personal meeting sections, we're just kind of gloss over. Require a password. You do have the option to set a password for a meeting. I have this turned off just because all of the Zoom meetings that I will be conducting will be with teachers and educators. So I'm not worried about someone jumping on who shouldn't be in there. But if that's a concern for you, then you can require a password when you schedule a meeting, and then people would need the link to your Zoom meeting, just like you guys clicked on the link to get into this meeting, and they would need a password. Going down here, I do suggest that you mute participants upon entry. That way when they enter the Zoom, if they pop in a little bit late or even right when you open the Zoom, you never know what's going on in people's homes. So just having them muted when they first come in makes for kind of a smoother transition. I'm going to scroll down here to the chat section. So allow participants to send a message visible to all participants. We have this turned on so that if you guys click on the little chat button, there's like a little speech bubble looking icon in your tools, you would be able to send a message that everyone can see. And then we also have it set up where you can send a message to a specific person. If you were using this with students, I would probably not allow this. I wouldn't want the kids to be messaging each other. But if you're using this with adults, then I would turn this on. And then this button up here, prevent participants from saving chat. I'm actually gonna uncheck that just because, again, I'm doing most of my Zooms with adults, so if they wanna save the chat, then that's fine. You do have an auto save chat, personal preference, play sound when participants join or leave, again, personal preference. File transfer, there's an option in the chat window that people can add files. So we have that turned on, so if people wanted to upload certain files, they could do that. Again, if you were using this with adults, it might be useful. With students, it could probably be useful as well if they were gonna upload like a PDF or some kind of an article that they had found. We're gonna scroll down a little bit to this screen sharing section. Do you wanna allow the host and participants to share their screen? So definitely you wanna toggle that on because right now we are in screen sharing mode. And then who can share? This depends on who your audience is. You can have it where all participants can share, which is what we have because again, we're working with adults, or host only. Personal preference, or not personal preference, but that just depends on who your audience is. And then who can start sharing when someone else is sharing. Definitely, if you're going to have all participants be able to share, you want to make sure that only the host can start sharing when someone else is sharing. This means that right now, no one else can try to hop on and take over the screen share because I'm the host, and it's set where only the host can start sharing if someone else was sharing. The annotation feature allows people to annotate on the screen. So like if there's a little pencil on my Zoom control bar, and so I can just start drawing on the screen. So that's a nice option to have if you wanted students to like highlight things or circle things on your screen. But it's also one to be sure that, sorry, I'm gonna clear that out. To be sure that you do like talk to people, don't have them, you know, annotating in the middle of a presentation if it's, you know, like a lecture style, things like that. Next option is the whiteboard feature. Zoom does have a whiteboard feature, which I'll show in a little bit. So do you want to allow that to be turned on? The remote control, do you want, whoops, there goes my pencil. I was trying to move that, I had a pop-up on my screen. I was trying to move out of the way. So let me take off my annotation. During screen sharing, the person who's sharing can allow others to control the shared content. So if you're using this with students, that might be something you want to turn off. We're using it with adults, so we have it turned on. Down here in the advanced section, so the breakout room, this allows you to send your participants to like smaller rooms. Think of like small group work, or if you were doing a staff meeting and like the first grade team was going to break out and go somewhere and the second grade team was going to break out. If you have this setting checked off that it's on, then you will be able to send people to different breakout rooms. So I have gotten some questions about closed captioning. So you can toggle that on. I did see someone had asked about a third-party device. Like we don't have anything currently set up for that, but another teacher had emailed me and said that it worked pretty well. So that's an option if you want to toggle closed captioning on or off, depending on you and your users and what they're going to be doing. The virtual background allows people to change from, you know, seeing the broom in the background to they can choose something more pleasant like San Francisco, but because my wall is green, I think it's having a hard time picking up all the different colors. But that's the virtual background, and that can be done if it's enabled. I'm actually going to turn that off because that fuzziness is bothering me. If it is enabled, then right next to where on your Zoom controls where you see the camcorder icon, right to the right, there's a little caret. And if you click on that caret, one of the options is choose virtual background. So you could have a background instead of whatever's in your room. And then some of the other things we don't necessarily need. The waiting room people have asked me about. If you have this turned on, then instead of everyone joining the meeting as soon as it happens, people are stuck in this waiting room and you have to like admit them in. So it's one of those, if you're going to take the time to say, yep, Janet can join, and yes, Cindy can join, then you could do that. But for most things, I would just have that turned off. You could also have the waiting room turned on. It's kind of just like a holding space. So if you had someone that you needed to like set aside out of your meeting for a couple minutes, you could push them to the waiting room and then they'd be out of your main meeting and you could bring them back. So that's an option. Email notification, this first one is for you as the host. If people click join your meeting before you're there, you will get an email. So that's personal preference. When a meeting is canceled, do you want that to send a notification to the host and the participants? Again, personal preference. If you're using this with students, and depending on their grade level that they're in, they won't have access to email, so it wouldn't really matter, but this could be used as a nice feature if you're using Zoom with colleagues. And so that's it for most of your settings. And again, you can always come back in here and you can update this anytime. So if you decide you know what, I no longer want to get an email when people, if they've joined before me, you can just toggle that off and it'll update right away. I'm gonna turn that back on though. Again, so all of these you can update whenever you would like. So what this is done when you're updating things in your main settings is this now becomes the default when you want to schedule a meeting. So now I'm going to click on meetings. So these are all of the meetings that I have scheduled. This is the meeting that we're in right now, Intro to Zoom. But when you go to schedule a new meeting, you're just going to click this blue Schedule a New Meeting button. Oh, hi, Gail. Yeah, I was like, it just shows a special ed. I don't know who that is. So when you click on that Schedule a Meeting button, this is the screen that you will get. By default, it wants to name it My Meeting, but you can change this to whatever you want. Whoops. So I'm just going to change this to Delete Later. If you want to give a description, you can. You do not have to. That's optional. This section here is just date and time. When do you want this meeting to start? And just note that you are not, you're not beholden to this date and this start time. So if I say that this meeting is going to start today at 10 o'clock, I still have to come in and hit Start Meeting. The meeting isn't automatically going to start without me. So if you know that your time is a little bit flexible, you could just put in a time. The reason that it asks for a time is that when it goes onto your calendar, it will go onto that time slot on your calendar, which I'll show. So we'll just say today at 10 o'clock. Under duration, you can have it from 0 hours all the way up to 7 hours. So we'll just say 0 hours and then 30 minutes. So you can be specific with your time. And again, this is more for the calendar. If your meeting, so right now this is set to start at 10, it's supposed to last 30 minutes. At 10:30, it's not going to automatically stop or kick us out. This is more just so your calendar is organized by whatever time and duration you have here. Here again, remember in my settings, I do not require a password, but if for some reason I did need to require a password, I could click on this. It will generate a password, or I could delete this and type in my own password. So even if in your main settings, you do not require a password, when you're setting up a meeting, you still have that option. Here's what those video and audio settings that we set as default. For us, it's the host video is on, participant video is on, but again, participants and the host as well can also stop sharing their video at any time. We have audio set as both. And then down here for meeting options, the two that we usually check for sure are mute participants upon entry. And then for us, because we're doing these as trainings, we record the meeting. That's a feature depending on what you're using Zoom for. You might check sometimes, you might not check other times. It just depends. And again, this enabled join before host. That means if I hadn't clicked start the meeting yet, you guys would have been able to come on and been in the meeting before me, so personal preference. And then the waiting room, again, is that space that you could kind of put people off to the side in this other space. They're not in your main meeting, and then you could bring them into the meeting whenever you want to. But once you're done with all of your settings to schedule this individual meeting, oh, let me actually go back, and I forgot to talk about this. You can set up a recurring meeting. So I think some principals and some departments have recurring staff meetings. And so if I check the recurring meeting box, it's going to ask me, how often do I want this to keep happening? Is it daily, weekly, monthly? No fixed time. So if I say weekly, it's going to ask me how often or what days of the week I want it to occur. So maybe this is a Monday through Friday type thing. I want it to repeat either every week, or I could do every other week, whatever your specifications are. But I just wanted to show that. So you don't need to keep scheduling a meeting every day at 10 o'clock if you're always going to be on Zoom at 10 o'clock with your department or with your colleagues. You can set up a recurring meeting. I'm just going to uncheck that so I don't have a bunch of meetings in my Zoom. And when you're all done again, you're just going to click the Save button. And so from here, this is all the information from your meeting that you need. Right here where it says join URL, this is the link that you need to either share with students or with your colleagues. This is how they are going to access your Zoom. So you could just copy this link. Again, if you're using it with students, you could put it into Google Classroom. If you're using it with colleagues, you could email it to them. And then the other feature that we wanted to show is you can add this meeting to your Google Calendar. So right here where it says add to calendar, I'm going to click my Google Calendar. It will open up a new tab. It's going to have me sign into Google because I haven't connected it today yet. So I will give Zoom full access to everything in my calendar. And so now I'm in my regular Google Calendar settings. Right here is the name of my meeting. So I called this meeting Delete Later. It has the time from 10 to 10:30 because I said it was a 30-minute meeting. Here's the link that people will need. That's why it's under the location, because this is where your meeting will occur. And then in the details, oops, sorry, let me move this. It's blocking my view. In the details here, it's saying that Brandy Miller's inviting you to a Zoom. Again, it has the link, so people can just click on the link from the calendar invite. And then if you needed to, you could actually add guests. So here's where you could add your colleagues. So I'll just add Janet. You can just type their email, and then Janet would receive Janet would get an email saying that Brandy's inviting you to this event, and then she could accept that invitation, and then it would show up on her calendar. So this piece is really good if you're using it with colleagues. For students, if you were going to use this with students, they just need this join link. They don't need to create an account to use Zoom. They don't need to sign in. All they need is that link. They'll put their name in, and then they will join. So I am not going to save this. You would need to click this. Well, I'll save it. So you need to click the Save button. Janet, I'm not going to send you an email, but you would want to click Send. And so now let's switch my calendar to day view. And you'll see here's that Zoom that we just created, Delete Later. When I click on that event, it gives me all of my information. It even gives me the link right here that I can join. So again, if you're using it with colleagues, you definitely want to push it out to Google Calendar so that it shows up on their calendar and they can easily access this link. If you are using this with students, you just need to copy this link and send it to them however you're communicating with them. So I'm actually going to delete this event just so I don't think I'm supposed to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. So let me go back into the Zoom tab. So again, where it says join URL, this is the link that you would need to send to any participants that you would want to join. And if you want to add it to your Google Calendar, you could add it there. So I'm going to open up. Oh, awesome. Janet's been answering things. Perfect. Does anyone have any questions? Any other questions? Janet's been great at answering all those. My students are using Safari, doesn't recognize the web address for Zoom. I don't want to do anything unless he downloads the app. So yes, on a mobile device, the participants do need to download the app, either on Apple, from the Apple Store, or from the Google Play Store. I do not know about Safari. On my MacBook, I use Google Chrome, so I'm not sure. Kirsten, I would maybe send an email to the Technology Help Desk to see if they can figure out why it's not recognizing on Safari. Unless Janet, I don't know if you know why that would be happening. Yeah. So I think the best bet would be for you to send an email to the help desk, and I can type in, let me see, dash help desk. I'll type in their email address, Roland School Board, that you can email them. You can send an email to them at this address, and they should be able to help you. If you just explain that Safari's not recognizing the web address for Zoom, they should be able to help with that. Awesome. I will just share, so right now I'm sharing my screen, my desktop screen with you. One of the other options to share is a whiteboard. So now on your screens, you should see this whiteboard. And then we have it set up that anyone can jump on and start drawing. So you could jump on and draw. And the way to access the drawing features is somewhere near the top of your screen. It says like viewing Brandy Miller's screen. There should be a button that says view options. And if you click on that, in the drop-down list, one of the options is to annotate. We do recognize that it's not working on Chromebooks. And my daughter uses a Chromebook at home. It's not a district Chromebook, it's our Chromebook. And she didn't have the feature when I was playing around with it with her because she's my little test, my test person that I test everything out on. And then we did have other people in previous Zooms with us say that they couldn't access it. So I think I emailed technology, but if not, I will make sure that I follow up to use to email technology to see about that. Trouble hearing using your phone. No, I don't know. Yeah, Cindy, because when you first popped on, and we were saying hi, I was going to unmute you, but there wasn't an option to unmute you. Like the microphone icon didn't appear. I do not know why that is. Because I know we've had people use their phones for Zooms when we've been in some other meetings, so I'm not sure. Awesome. So this is just, I just wanted to show the whiteboard feature. As the host, you have the option to clear, you can clear just other people's drawings, so the viewer's drawings, you can clear just your drawings, or you can clear the entire screen. So that's an option. I know like we had some math teachers that were pretty excited about this, that they could use it, you know, to write out equations with their kids or to demo things. So I just wanted to show that. I will stop sharing my screen now. See if there's any other questions. Yeah, any other questions with Zoom? We are recording this, and all of the recordings that we've done so far will be on the District EdTech website. We have ours set up, Janet and I both have ours set up to where it records automatically, so we don't have to remember to hit record. But as the host, you do have the option to record a meeting even after it started. You won't see that right now as a participant. Well, you will see the participant record button, but if you click on that, you have to ask me as the host for permission to record. But as the host, I can just record. I can also pause the recording, stop the recording whenever I would like. So what happens once you record the session, because we're using the free account, it's just gonna save to your computer. And so what Janet and I do is we, once it's saved to our computer, we upload it to Google Drive, and then we share it out from there. So, and then we do delete it from, or I don't know, Janet, do you delete the videos once they're downloaded? Yeah, just because they're taking up space. So I delete them from my MacBook once I've uploaded them to Google Drive. So any other questions?
Kristen asked about annotating on a document with students, and the only thing that I could think of was sharing your screen and then having another tab with the document open. Can you think of another thing?
Yeah, no, I think that's I saw that. I think that's a great solution, because then they would all be annotating on the same one. With Zoom, there's no way to like push out their own individual copy for them to annotate on and then share back with you. So you could have like a class annotation. Um, or I mean, you could set up, depending on how many students or people are in your Zoom, like, okay, I want these 4 people, it's your turn to annotate. You could clear it out. Then these next people, it's their turn to annotate. But I think having it open as a new tab and doing a screen share is probably the easiest way to accomplish that. Awesome. Any other questions? No, we are glad to be helpful. That's what we are here for.
I have a question.
Yes.
I couldn't type it fast enough, sorry. When we are recording a session, it will include all the other persons and their comments. Like when I watch this video, I can see right now Janet on there. Will it show the other participants on the recording?
Yes, so you will see the little, I call them like the Brady Bunch, like all the squares that everyone's in. You'll see all that. I went back and I watched parts of one, and you don't see the names. So if, like, for me and Janet and Kirsten, since we have our pictures or our video up, you won't see our names, which is good for privacy. If people aren't sharing their video, so like for you and Cindy, where your names are in the screen, then that would be on your video recording.
Okay, and maybe I wasn't paying attention, but there is an option to not show those when we're Zooming?
So I have an option as the host.
Because I'm thinking if I were to do something with one student, I could record it so that I don't have to like tell a story or whatever over and over again. And then I could share it with the other students easily in a way that the parents who aren't figuring out Classroom Seesaw, all those other things, I could easily share one of those stories or story retailers or something. But I don't want them to see who I'm Zooming with.
Right. So in my, on my end under the settings, when I click, so you know how you see the little video, the camcorder button, and you can start or stop sharing your camcorder?
Yeah.
And then there's a little caret next to it. So when I click on the caret and then I open up video settings, one of my options as the host is to hide non-video participants. So I'm going to click on that. And what I've never done this, so this is me going out on a limb. But what I think is going to happen is people that don't have their video, I will no longer see them on the screen. So let me see if that is true. Yep, so now it's just me and Janet that you see on the screen because our video is turned on. I also see at the top, it says total non-video participants 3. Okay. So that's one way you could get the students who aren't, sorry, let me show because that's weird, that you could get like the names, like how yours has special ed and then Cindy has her name, that you could get those to disappear. It did also make Kirsten disappear, even though she has her picture up, but because she's not sharing the video, then she disappeared as well. Did it disappear on your end? No. Okay, so it just disappears on my end, which might fit your need scale, because if you're recording your screen, then you wouldn't see those people.
Okay, okay. And then, so you can create it so the videos aren't shared, right? Because mine shows don't share the video, but mine special ed name is still on there.
Sorry, so say yes. So if I hit stop video, it's gonna be my Roland picture because that's what I have linked to my Zoom account. If there's no picture linked to the Zoom account, I think it just uses whatever name. But how would it say special ed for you? I'm trying to think of where the names are pulled from.
I am using a special ed computer, so maybe.
Maybe maybe the name of that computer, like my computer, my MacBook, the name on it is Brandy Miller. So maybe the name of that computer is special ed. I don't know. That's one I'm not sure about, where like the name gets pulled from. I know when I was playing on my phone with it, by default, it said name was still 3AXL, like that's the type of phone that I have, and I had to change that and put my name.
Also, when I use my cell phone, I noticed my picture popped up, but not on the Chromebook.
Interesting.
Only my name pops up.
Yeah. And then I know, because I never added my picture to my Zoom account, but this picture is my picture that's linked to my Roland Google account. So I think that's where it's pulling the pictures from sometimes.
I actually added this picture particularly on my phone to the Zoom app.
Okay.
Probably a good idea if you want people to see you but not see your video.
Yes.
Like put a picture in. And I wanted to let you know that you don't have to just be the host to be able to mute non-video participants. I did that with my group meeting because it was getting really confusing. When someone talks, you just see either their picture or their black name, and it was just distracting. So yeah, you can do it too, whether you're the host or not. But if you're recording, obviously you want to probably mute everyone who's not on video so that you can protect them.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that.
As a participant, how can I mute others?
So I don't think she meant mute. I think she meant she could take off the non-video sharing people. I think only as the host, you can mute yourself and you can unmute yourself. And then as the host, I can mute and unmute everybody.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Another thing too, for the settings, when you go into the settings and you start your session, you can click on participants video and turn that off so that when students go into the meeting, their video will show from the get-go. And when you do your screen share, then it doesn't show the videos at all. When it's screen sharing and it's recording, it's just strictly your screen.
Yeah.
But if they unmute themselves, then you will be able to hear their voice in the video. You just won't be able to see them.
Yes. Good point, Janet.
That's awesome. And so you can block the videos, and then does their name show up?
Yes.
Okay, or their computer name, whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Then yeah, so then if that's the case, then I would click the little caret that's next to the camcorder icon, and then video settings, and hide non-video participants, and then they disappear from the screen, so you wouldn't see their names if you were recording.
Because you have made everyone a non-video participant, right?
No, I said everyone would come in with video, but then they could turn off their video if they wanted to.
But I mean, if you don't want the students to be seen ever,
Yes.
you would make them non-video participants. And then when we did the caret thing, and that's when we
Yes.
would fix it for everyone to be.
Yeah, so like I can go into Janet's right now and I will stop showing her video on my screen. So now it just says her name. And then if I go in and go into the video settings and hide non-video participants, now since everyone is not showing their video, the only person I see on my screen right now is myself. So that could be an option too. If you just don't have them share their video, and then just hide anyone who is not sharing their video, that could be a good workaround as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Awesome. Any other questions? All right, let me grab the link to where the videos will, where'd my screen go? There we go. To where the videos will, eventually be posted. We'll get today's video up by the end of the day today, but the videos from last week are all posted on that website. So I just put the link in the little chat window, so you can click on that and they are there for you to view whenever you'd like. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Janet. We are here to help. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Have a good day.